Alright, let me look at this. So, grinding a relic weapon. I completed a Zodiac relic in 1 day in FF14 from Rinon. Let me link that video. You can watch some of this. Right, okay, so let me see how this would be.
In Final Fantasy XIV comes the release of a quest chain that is intended to bring players together, to funnel warriors of light from all walks of life through a series of hurdles in the hopes of forging friendships from their shared Stockholm syndromes. And you get something glowy to flex at the end too. I am speaking, of course, about buying the glow stick emote from the Mog Station and standing around Limsa with them. But I suppose you can also do a relic weapon if that isn't your cup of tea. With the recent controversy on Headquarters relic quests and how they've been released as nothing more than glorified tombstone vendors, I decided to take a look back and attempt to complete the only type
So when was this
relic
released?
in Final Fantasy XIV's 10-year
2 months
history
ago.
that I've never done before.
Okay.
The Zodiac relics, originally released alongside A Realm Reborn. Whenever I hear about these relics, it's always about how much of a grind they are and how long they take to do. I read tales of people talking about taking weeks to make it through to completion on a single relic, even now that we have the advantage of 40 levels over any of the content, making it super simple to solo. From my own limited experience, a couple of years ago, I started one of these relics.
I wonder if you could just grind this very quickly. Maybe if you did a 24-hour grind session.
I gave up shortly after about a third of the way through. I just didn't have the mental fortitude and commitment to keep at it, so I sidelined it and never came back to it. This time was going to be different. To raise the stakes, I decided that going for the relic wasn't enough. Instead, I was going to go for the relic weapon in one single day. 24 hours. If I happen to go 1 minute
There you go, yeah, just do it
over
like
that
this.
24-hour limit, I would immediately discard the weapon, eradicating all of my progress in a second. Now, there were stakes. Additionally, I let my chat vote on which relic I would go for, meaning I could end up playing one of my least favourite jobs in the game.
That
Or
would be
maybe
pain.
they'd give me something comfy and fun, like Summoner or Dragoon or...
But the Summoner one looks bad. Okay, the Ninja one looks the best though. This is good.
We are going to start our Zeta today. This is mainly so that we can see the overall time. I'm not actually really doing a speedrun, right? We just have to do it within
Good start.
24 hours. But I thought I'd set up the little splitter thingy that the speedrunners use, because I thought it would be interesting. And I'll start the timer when we pick up the quest. The first step starts
from
out
Geralt.
simple, sending you to talk to a bunch of NPCs, then immediately to a location in the overworld specific to your job's relic weapon to go collect a broken weapon that will form the base of your future relic. Then you have to craft this weapon, buy it on the market board, and meld it. I guess Eorzea's finest blacksmith is definitely not Eorzea's finest melder, because this guy has me putting plus zeros into the weapon for some unknown reason.
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
Then you have to queue and face your mightiest challenge yet, the Chimera.
Okay.
Speed through a dungeon unsynced, turn in some cheap tombstone materials, and hunt a bunch
So
of
far, this looks
Lenosian
very
beasts.
varied.
Sorry, they're allied tribesmen now, aren't they? And then finally, I can face my next
Yeah, he's
major
90 though.
hurdle.
Yeah, that's
The
why he
Hydra.
can do it so quickly.
Then after all that, you've just got to doink Ifrit, then consider doinking Garuda and Titan unsynced as well, which in 2023 takes about 30 seconds combined if you aren't an idiot like me, before grinding out
But this
the
would all still be
daunting
pretty easy,
requirement.
even not max level, because I would just bring
In
you
order
guys.
to grab a Radzahan quenching oil to appease our taskmaster.
Yeah, like so
Geralt.
far, I mean, this seems like
This
all
gave
very
me the base relic weapon, the first of 8 steps required to complete the Zodiac. To
It doesn't seem
further
very
lull me
repetitive
into a
yet.
false sense of security, the second step took about as much work as this patch's PvP balance changes. All I needed to do was grab 3 Thavnaran Mists for 60 Poetics, and then I was the oh so very proud owner of an item level 90 Zenith weapon.
Wow.
We'd managed it in just over
They nerfed
20
it? Okay.
minutes, and I was feeling
So you used
good,
to be a lot grinder.
but I
grindier?
knew that it was utterly deluded to think that this meant that I was actually a quarter of the way through the content.
Yeah, because this is
These steps were the easiest and the fastest in the entire
20 minutes
quest
for
line,
those.
and what to come was going to make me worried as to whether I'd even manage to hit the 24-hour deadline. The next step is the Atma stage of the Relic. You've probably heard of Atma before in hushed voices. Those
Not
who
of
speak
Atma, I've heard of
it
Ligma,
dreading
though.
its next coming with their
Are
very
they
beings.
friends?
You have to collect 12 of these Atma crystals by completing fates in 12 different Aromaborn zones. You need to equip your work-in-progress glow stick to have a chance at drops. Notice I said a chance at drops, because current estimates give you somewhere in the region of a 20% chance to actually get an Atma from a
Right.
fate. And this is only after a bunch of heavy nerfs to increase the drop chances. I've heard people as recently as this expansion complaining about taking days of grinding just to collect all 12. So coming into
The
this
fates,
step,
are fates constantly
I
active, or
prepared
do you
a
have to
secret
wait
weapon.
for them?
anyone want to farm some fates? Any homies want to do an Atma? Begging chat for help. See, this was an ingenious idea. Until
I guess
they
I could
started
level.
getting about 3 drops in the time it took me to get a single one. Soon enough, the hour mark came and went, but the grind on the whole was going smoothly thanks to a little blue mage assistance. An hour and 30 minutes in, and I was collecting my 12th and final Atma and trekking back
Right,
to
so you
North
keep doing the
Shroud
ones
to
until the ones
yeet
you
them
want
at
appear.
Jalzar. And people made out that this step was bad. It's just boring.
Okay, that's not too bad. An hour. That's not too bad.
Now, item level 100 Atma weapon in hand.
Like,
I
okay.
was ready.
That grind sounded like it was going to be a lot worse than it was. Why did that guy say it took people to wait in days for that? Is it just because he's max level and like other people? No, because other people doing it recently. This was 2 months ago that this was made. Other people doing it now would also be high level. RNG, sure, but like, how good would your RNG have to be to do something in an hour that took somebody else days? You know what I mean? Like, you'd have to have phenomenal RNG. RNG must. Oh yeah, they're always synced. Okay, RNG and you got help. Okay. Basically, Blue Mage is broken and Blue Mage was one-shotting the Fates. Right, okay. So the Fates were just, like, happening very, very quickly. Can you, can you speed up the rate at which Fates are going to occur in some way? Or is it literally just you're subject to... You have a finite speed that you can go at?
To face possibly the greatest challenge I would in these entire
Alright, take it easy, Relic.
hours. Animus books.
Thanks for hanging out today.
You can tell what kind of stage it's going to be based on the fact that you need to pay 100 poetics for the privilege of opening one of the 9 required books and viewing the 19 individual monotonous tasks that each one has waiting for you within. Every book has 10 sets of overworld mobs to find and defeat, usually for a total of 27 to 30 enemies. 3 dungeons to run, 3 fates to complete, some of which can take almost an hour real time to spawn, and 3 leave quests to complete. So overall, we are looking at you expending 900 poetics, 90 sets of overworld mobs for a total of somewhere around 270 kills, 27 dungeon runs, 27 fates, and 27 leave quests.
Holy shit, how long would this have taken this guy?
This one single step.
20 minutes.
There are 2 parts here that are absolutely awful. First of all, a number of the 27 required fates have a relatively long respawn timer, making them fairly rare, and because I'm me...
I'm going to say right here, at minute 8, none of those weapons looked cool enough for this to be worth it.
My luck, there is a solid chance that I will be sat there waiting for them to respawn for an entire hour, twiddling my thumbs. Luckily, thanks to the cross-world border walls being knocked down in 14,
so hopping servers instead, okay.
wasn't spawned on my server, I could simply hop over to another server, and another, and another. The entire data center was my oyster, and I was absolutely going to use it to my advantage. Lastly, though, were the dreaded leaves.
So I
Leaves
won't
are
be ready
not
for
just
Dawn Trail, will
boring.
I?
They may sound boring yet simple, but here is what actually sucks about them. Each NPC only has 4 leaves accessible for you to pick up at any one time, and which ones are available is completely RNG. How do you refresh the pool of leaves available, you might ask? Well, the only way is to complete one and...
By the way, hour 6, by the way. So it's taken 5 hours from that point. So the first 3 steps in an hour and a half, and then it's taken 5 hours to get the 4th step done, and there are still 5 more. And then he's not done with this yet, okay.
Grand Company leaves are even worse, with only 2 leaves being available at a time for each GC. So, if you end up unlucky, what often ends up happening is you may need to finish 1, 2, or even 3 leave quests that you didn't even need to do in order to get the leave you actually need from the potential pool. We ended up coming up with a solution for that.
But you could get good RNG there, maybe.
A complete list of leaves required for all 9 books is readily available on the internet. So, when you go to an area, say for example Mordona, there's nothing preventing you from grabbing all of the leaves for every book that you need from that area in advance. Instead of just grabbing the leave you need for the book you are working on right now, you can instead attempt to grab the 4 to 5 leaves required in that zone for all books. You can hold up to 16 leaves at a time. So once I'd gotten the ball rolling with this, on numerous occasions, I instantly completed the leave requirement for a book because I had all 3 leaves ready to turn in from preparing them while working on a previous book. And it let me be way more efficient in how much I was teleporting.
I hate stuff like this where by knowing more about what's upcoming, you can speed up the process now by holding on to shit that you get. Like, you can speed up the process later by holding on to stuff that you get now, because then I just get flustered. I just get flustered and I can't track it all, and I can't remember what's what. It's like when I go do WoW professions, and then it's like, oh, if you hold on to this cloak at level, like, 70 on your leatherworking, then you can use it at level 150 on your leatherworking. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. Yeah.
Despite these
it's not really a big deal. Okay,
lazy man solutions, this was still absolutely miserable. My
this is a bit of a sanity check.
Just before the 3-hour mark, and in the 90 minutes I spent on it, I was only able to muster up marginal prep work to lessen the pain for the next day. The hours rolled by, the chatters came and left, and my patience dwindled. This was the stage that had defeated my previous attempt all those years ago, and I was determined to see it through, despite how mind-numbing I was finding it. Each book was taking a solid 60 to 90 minutes to complete, with every server hop for a fate, with every unlucky leave quest.
This just questions like, okay, so this doesn't feel very monotonous in a way. Like, it doesn't. Because if it was a grind where it's like, right, you're going to sit in one location and you are going to farm the same mob for 1,000 years, that to me is a very monotonous grind. Or if it's like a lot of repeat steps. I guess, yeah, you are doing dungeons, you are doing fates and stuff, and you're coming back and forth. But, like, because it's sort of split up, I guess the 9 books where you've got to do the same thing, but for 9 different books, it's sort of very samey. But I'm just thinking, like, there's a lot of variety of things happening on screen, which is at least good.
Eventually, after the timer hit 9 hours and 9 minutes, I emerged victorious. 9 well-read books and just as many brain cells lost later, I had finally, after almost 10 years playing Final Fantasy
the books are all different tasks? Yeah,
made it past the Anima step for the very first time. That's it.
I think...
We go.
Sorry, before we get their reaction, I think if you were going to do this kind of grind, it's actually okay, but you should get every single weapon for every single class by doing this grind. Because you don't, do you? You only get... So if you wanted to do this, say, for Dragoon and then White Mage, you would have to do it individually on both, yes? No? Oh, yes. Okay, so that's only... So this whole grind is for just one weapon. Okay, I think this would be acceptable if you got every single weapon. Because you only get one weapon, I think it's not the best.
Turn it in. Hell yeah! Seeing that quest complete text gave me my second win, and I was excited to get stuck into the next step. After completing a couple of fetch quests and spending 75 more of my now dwindling poetic
Okay, so
song,
9 hours to do the fourth
I was
phase.
given a sphere scroll. The way this scroll works is that you need to obtain materia 1 through materia 4.
I
of
also
different
don't feel
types
like
and
I'm
affix
experienced
them
enough
to
in the
scroll
game.
using an item called Alexandrite. Alexandrite is the real issue here, as in order to obtain it, you need to complete a metric shit ton of duties, have access to an equally despicable number of tomestones, or you need to get lucky enough to completely decimate the Eorzean ecosystem of old A and S ranks.
I don't feel like I'm experienced enough in this game yet where I could even tackle something like this. Like, I have too many questions about how the game works. It would also probably teach me a lot. Doing it a relic weapon grind would probably teach me a lot about the game. At the same time, do I want to learn about the game at the same time as losing my sanity? Probably not.
I got lucky though, because when I was preparing for this challenge, I checked through my retainers to see what I already had, and I found that for some unknown reason, I had like 125 Alexandrite just sitting there. I don't remember buying it, I can't imagine why I bought it, and to be honest, at the time when I did buy it, I probably had no idea what for. I probably just bought it randomly as a mistake.
Cheater, this guy's pre-played it.
I can't imagine why I did, but my gosh, I was so thankful to pass for being an idiot. Then, I went to my trusty friend the market board and purchased every materia I needed, no matter the cost, because laziness trumps all.
106 million gil,
for this step in just under 20 minutes.
Okay.
At this point, I was just over halfway through the relic in 9.5 hours, with arguably the worst behind me. I was talking a big game. Only a few hours left.
Crosser.
This relic is easy, I thought. In came light farming to punch me in the face and teach me my place as a filthy Heavensward baby. To obtain the next step, the Zodiac Nexus, you need to achieve a grand total, a 2000 light to fully attune the weapon. How do you get light, you might ask? Well,
I don't even know what it
anything
is
the easy answer, at least from a Realm Reborn content. You can get it from trials, from dungeons, from hunts, and even from old PvP.
Okay.
I would love to tell you that this step is fun and relaxing because you can get fast progress doing whatever you like, making that 2k goal fly by. But here's what you actually do.
More balls. More lights. Okay, this is really loud.
That's right.
Okay, it's done.
The most efficient way to zoom through this step is to complete the Aurum Vale. A lot.
Yeah, Aurum Vale is a very small
To be on
dungeon.
this step within a limited bonus
Compared to all the others,
you need to
very
complete
quick.
Aurum Vale a grand total of 42 times. So, I completed Aurum Vale 42 times.
Wonder it takes
I dodged
2
the
minutes.
big frogs with the annoying pullbacks,
Okay.
and then you one-shot the first boss, and
Like
then you pray
2
Shikuchi
hours.
is back, and then you try your best not to miss target a seedling instead of a marble. Then you pray for Shikuchi some more, and then my brain cells poured out of
Shikuchi
my
what?
ear, and then I killed the second boss, and then...
It's been 84 years.
Yeah, like that's
was
fine.
then,
You throw on
at
Netflix,
this point,
you throw on a
that I
YouTube
realized
video, and
that my chat had actually kind of blessed me by
You watch a
forcing me
Cyber
into
stream.
Ninja. With its 2 stacks of Shikuchi to zoom through
Shikuchi
trash
what?
rooms with the ability to gain another one instantly with every use of Rinon, it made what could have been 2+ minute runs of Aurum Vale Aeolian edged all the way down to sub 130 with a little bit of
ooh,
practice.
sub 130.
So thanks, chat.
Sheesh.
You thought you got me, but actually,
Yeah, I think this is
Ninja's
fine.
meta. An hour and 20 minutes later, as my timer encroached on the 11-hour mark, I clocked out of my 40-second run and picked up my Nexus. I thought 42 runs of Aurum Vale was bad, But the next
I
stage
honestly,
I was
I'll be
about
honest,
to begin.
that doesn't sound too bad. 2 minutes a run, 40 runs. That doesn't sound too bad. Because it's pretty easy as well. That doesn't seem too bad. That's
was
fine.
horrible. With a capital H. On paper, it seems super simple. After a little back and forth...
Every time I say something, this guy just immediately then just goes... I'm like, wow, this thing seems fine. This guy, this thing sucked. Like, oh, okay.
You get the option to pick up 4 repeatable quests in Mordona. I never even knew this step existed until I started this Relic quest, but it's the only point in the entire quest chain, and maybe in any Relic that I can even think of, that you are required to spend a decent chunk of gil. You first need to buy 4 items for 100,000 gil a pop. That's the only way to get them. As well as 4 spring water for a total of 800 poetics.
Yeah, gold sinks can be fine. I think at this point, like, I mean, I've got 6 million gil, and that was pretty easy to get. I just opened trade window, and someone gave it to me. So, like, that was pretty easy. I think gil... No, in all seriousness, gold sinks can be pretty good. There's a few examples of this in WoW where they'll do gold sinks, which can be really good. I'm trying to think of some various weapons. There's a few where, like, you need to spend an amount of gold. I mean, there's like mounts and shit like that, but there's a good couple considerable gold spends for certain weapons in WoW that can be good. Like back in the day, back in the classic and stuff. Yeah, 400k is not too bad.
Seals. Luckily, I had the seals just kind of sitting around, and turning my tombstone wallet upside down, shaking
prepared.
it a little bit, dropped out the poetics I needed.
Pharaoh Sirius, let's go, baby.
I needed to grab 8 crafted items, 1 for each crafter job. I could spend a gross amount of time painstakingly gathering the prerequisite materials and making each one loving it.
Editing this video would have sucked,
though. Instead, I poofed to the nearest market board and dropped 700k to never have to think about it again. I kinda think it's worth it. You'd think we'd be free now. But after both of these demoralizing gil sinks, I then had to complete...
You have 100... Bro, you got 106 million gold. You've had to spend $1 million. Relax, come on.
16 different A Realm Reborn dungeons to get the missing items.
Wait, sorry, how many?
But after both of these demoralizing gil sinks, I then had to complete no less than 16 different A Realm Reborn dungeons to get the missing items to finish each of the 4 quests. There were some real bangers as well. A salacious starter of Sasha Hard, followed by a delectable Stone Vigil hard mode main course, and if you weren't already full enough for dessert,
Stone Vigil hard
there
sucks.
was, of course, a 43rd run of Aurum Vale on the
Except for the last
too.
boss.
I ended up just turning my brain off here and getting to work. For a step
yeah, this is fine. Grinding dungeons is fine.
The almost 2
the
hours
Q-pop is probably the worst bit.
Took me by surprise, but it was okay because I was
two hours to do 16 dungeons is very reasonable. I think that's fine. And again, you're doing a different dungeon each time, which I actually think is arguably better. Kelly, thank you so much for the 23 months. Yo. Thank you, Kelly. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's a pitta to speedrun Stone Vigil. Wait, what do you mean? It's a pitta. Yeah, unsynced and oh yeah, and you don't even have to queue. It's unsynced. Then that's fine.
This entire gamble was to complete a Zodiac Relic in under 24 hours. Well,
he's only halfway through 24 hours, and I mean it's 12 hours. That's so fine. You could do that in 2 days.
12 and a half.
In fact, you could actually do it in half a day. Shut up.
Hours into my stream, I was clicking accept quest on what was to be the
skip cutscene
step. The step that would give me a completed Zodiac Zeta Relic. Surely there's no way things can go wrong now, right? For this final step, Light Farming came back with a vengeance. You get 12 Mahatmas, each of which you can attach to your weapon for 50 poetics, which then gives you the heavenly blessed privilege of farming 2 runs of Aurum Vale, yet again, to fulfill the light requirement of that Mahatma to awaken it and complete it. Then you do it again
they're playing on
and again
console.
and again, until all 12 have been attached and awoken. There are 2 simple steps that I had to fulfill in order to win. Step 1, beg my chat to log onto alt characters so that I could farm their sweet sprout bodies for poetics bonuses, allowing me to afford the Mahatma in the first place. And step 2, turn my brain off and enjoy another date with my good buddy Aurum Vale. So I got down to it. Mahatmas 1 through 8 went smoothly, but just as I was about to get stuck into my 9th one, this happened. Started streaming again properly on his main. Wait, what?
Do the game think he's like a bot or something?
Are you kidding me?
Maximum number of duties exceeded?
Maximum number of duties exceeded. What?
Oh, no.
Are you kidding
How
me?
many is that?
Are you telling me
How many is that?
I'm the drunk at the bar and Skronix just told me to go home? Is anyone online? Can we see if you can queue us in? I will try traveling to light afterwards if it...
100
Penalized
per day.
Unable to
No!
undertake duty at this time. Bro, I'm gonna try going to light and see if it fixes it. Okay, let's see.
That's a lot of
If all we've
dungeons,
got to do
though.
is skip town. Let's see. Can we just skip town? Why is... Oh yeah, my chat box is here. Unrestricted party.
It's gotta work. It's gotta work. It's gotta work. It's gotta work.
Aurum Vale.
Oh!
No!
Unlucky.
Oh my
The time is still
God.
ticking, by the way. 13 hours, 20 minutes.
It's all over.
It's Jova. It's Jova, bro.
We tried, lads.
Yeah.
We tried.
I mean,
We
would you in
gave it up.
theory... Okay, would you in theory, like... Would you stop the challenge there because you're physically unable to because the game won't let you? Or would you... Because technically you can do it in under 24 hours, but then technically you can't in, you know... Theoretically you can do it in 24 hours, but physically you can't.
Our best shot.
Alright, what's he gonna do?
It was over. I've been playing
Unless-
this game for almost a decade, and never before have I ran into this. I was shocked. A feature I'd heard vaguely of in passing, but never experienced nor known anyone who had ever hit it. In Final Fantasy XIV, there actually exists a Duty Finder daily cap. Based on my own experience here, it seems to apply specifically to dungeon runs and sits somewhere around the 100 region. I tried having another player queue me into duty, I tried server hopping, and I even tried data center traveling all the way over to light, all to no avail. My guess is that it's intended as a bot prevention
Yep.
system, which is totally valid.
But 100 dungeons
you
a
hit-
day for a bot is like... That's a lot of dungeons.
The hidden internal cap for the day, you are given a complete Duty Finder ban until the next daily reset. But in this case, me, with my own 2 ninja daggers, a can of Monster Energy and a dream, had managed to hit the daily cap on my own and send the Square Enix Fun Police swooping down
This
on me.
guy's pretty funny.
And now, I was left with an incomplete relic and a Duty Finder ban until well past the 24-hour limit of this challenge. And as we agreed before, if it hits 24 hours, I delete the weapon. I was ready to give up and head to bed. Tired, defeated, and
But it's 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. When do the servers reset? Because wouldn't it reset based on the server, not on the character, right?
frustrated. And with the inability
Yeah,
to
that's
queue
true.
into
Service,
any
yeah.
content, it felt like victory.
Well, no, I'm
was
saying
certain.
100 dungeons is like a lot of dungeons. If they were going to cap bots, you'd cap it like in WoW, the cap is like 10 per hour or something to prevent bots. But yeah.
To be impossible. But then, I had a realization. There was one piece of content I could do that would give me light, and
Right, okay,
didn't
4 PM.
need me to queue into a duty to do it. And I could go and do it right now. Well then, lads.
Fates?
Well then, lads. Anyone want to do some fates? We could either do some fates, or I could go to bed, wake up tomorrow, and start the stream for 1 hour to finish it off. Fates. It always comes down to bloody fates. At least the fates
fate.
are quick, eh? We got that going for us. If this was rough, though, there is a reason that people opt to do dungeons for these light farms, and that's because in order to achieve what one dungeon run does for you in progression, you need to complete roughly 10 fates with a gold ranking. I was 5 runs of Aurum Vale away from completion, so I was looking at somewhere in the region of 50 fates to complete, on my own, at 2 AM at night. What was originally somewhere in the region of a 20-minute grind had suddenly become an hour-plus fiasco. Luckily, the real heroes of the day came to the rescue once more. Members of my chat zoomed over to Cerberus.
Yeah, this is Relic farming. What a song, dude! Bum, 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 ba-dum.
It may have taken longer than expected thanks to the incident, but in just over 14 hours I'd done it. The final hurdle had been overcome. I took my last tour of North Shroud over to Geralt's Special Corner, and with a little fanfare turned in this final step and picked up my very first Zodiac Zeta weapon. Now that I've done one, I feel like I can actually recommend people give this one a go if they haven't before.
Okay.
The grind isn't anywhere near as bad as it's made out to be, and I can honestly see it being an amazing filler thing to work on while your friends are busy.
See,
or
chat.
you have an hour hero there spare.
See?
Just don't do it in a day like me, or you're going to invoke the wrath of Yoshi P's special forces. Now I can proudly stash these away in my retainer and never look at them again as long as I live. Thank you so much for watching, friends. If you like this video, check out the one where I went for Lone Hero and almost had an aneurysm in the process. Have a great day.
Yeah, that's Wait, is the video still going? Oh, he coughed, so I thought he was gonna keep talking, but he didn't. Yeah, Link to the Creator? Yeah, one moment. Yeah, okay, cool. The letter Z. Zam. So that was Rinon. There we go, Zam. That's not too bad. I mean, it wasn't even a 24-hour grind. It was a 14-hour grind. And, okay, yes, a lot of the stuff the player already had they already had it. And they also, what should we call it? They also use, like, chat to help, and they use a bunch of gil, and they're level 90. So, like, yes, they're advantages, but, like, being level 50, this would take a bit longer for me, but I'd probably just see if somebody wanted to help for various stages or whatever if I had to. But, I mean, if you think about it, right? If you did it, like, you could farm the first 3 steps pretty quickly, okay? And so then psychologically, you're already in a good spot. You're like, right, I farmed the first 3. Amazing. It only took me 2 hours, 2.5 hours, 3 hours, let's say, right? Cool. Amazing. Now, yeah, the next step's going to take you another, like, 7 hours. Okay, that's a little bit more intense, but you spread that out across the couple days, like a week or so, 2 weeks, like, it's not too bad. And then the whole rest of the stage takes another, like, 7 hours. Well, not even that. So, but let's, like, just round it up a little bit. It's like, okay, it's not too bad. And then every time you're, like, ticking one off the list, like, look, because you spend, like, 7 hours getting Animus, but then Novus only takes another half an hour or so, maybe an hour or 2 if you got to go get the stuff yourself. And then Nexus only takes another hour after that, then a couple hours. So, like, you knock them off, really. I don't think that sounds horrendous. I was expecting probably something a bit worse in terms of time spent. The stuff he had to do seemed a bit like, that's a bit stinky. But it seems achievable in a reasonable amount of time. Running one dungeon for a mat, and after an hour of not finding it, I realized I can buy it cheap. Yeah, exactly. If a lot of the stuff you can buy, or you can already go in with, like, the tomes and stuff like that, then, yeah, if you spread it out over the course of a month, and you do, like, 2 hours a day for a month, you're chilling. Well, not even a day. Sorry, not even a day. Like, a couple hours, like 3-4 hours. Probably like 4 or 5 hours a week, and you're chilling. Which, you spend a Saturday morning knocking out some of this is not too bad.